Good evening, everybody. How are you today? Have you checked in with your liver? If you haven't, I suggest you go and get your favorite drink. You sit down for a nice private time with you and your liver. You have a nice little one-to-one kind of conversation. Maybe you just look deeply into the liver and the liver looks deeply into you. You know, whatever strikes your fancy. Just relax. Have fun with your liver. Anyway, today we are doing something a little different. I have been creating a bit of a self-challenge, if you will, on the game called Risk of Rain 2. It has a mod where you get to play as DBZ characters. I am a big DBZ fan. I loved this. I decided to play with it, and I thoroughly enjoy playing them. If I had one complaint about them, is that they're a little overpowered. They actually tend to break the game just a little bit, simply because, as you can see right here, you have a long list of these transformations you can choose from. You can add more to them, you can get a lot of them added in there, so that way as you power up your character, you can get onto these big, all kinds of powerful transformations. But if you look over here, it increases your armor, your health regen, your damage potentials, all of that stuff, you know, as it should, right? But it makes it a little too overpowered. So I took it upon myself when I got bored one day to decide on another way to make this a little more fun. And I created a bit of a side challenge for myself. Now, I figured I would make a video of how I laid out the challenge because I'm going to do a few videos, maybe 1, 2, or 3, depending on how interesting it is. But I made a couple of different modes of difficulty on it. So the basic challenge is that with the Goku character, you have the option of using his Kaioken abilities, as well as all the, Super Saiyan transformations. So I used a challenge to set it so that you only aim for using the Kaioken transformation primarily. Now, because this transformations list won't let you remove all of them, you have to have at least one in the list. I'm not sure why that is, it just is what it is. I limited it to the Super Saiyan transformation only. And in the basic challenge, I allow myself to use it in a pinch if I really need to stay alive, because it gets hard in this challenge. Trust me, it gets very hard. Oh, so hard. But the next part is that it has to be on Monsoon difficulty, the hardest difficulty in the game. Now, there are mods that adds in another one called Typhoon, or maybe some others that have made some others that are even harder, but in the vanilla game, if you get just the game and the Goku mod to it, Monsoon difficulty, hardest you can get. And with the artifacts, I like to use the Swarm one to make it more difficult, where it doubles the amount of monsters you're dealing with. And on certain stages, even with the maximum health halved, as it says there, it's still pretty nasty when they start spawning hordes and hordes of monsters at you. I also use the Artifact of Sacrifice so that when killing monsters, it drops items. I don't do that for any sort of cheaty reason. I do that because it simplifies the focus just a little bit when you get to the harder levels, especially on the basic challenge. And the next big important thing is one that there isn't really a setting for. It's something you have to keep yourself honest with. I limit myself on the different stages to about 5 minutes to play around, cute monsters, try to get items from the sacrifice artifact, and then I have to hit the teleporter and move on to the next stage. The other thing is that I must always, whenever I find them, activate the Challenge of the Mountain totems or the Shrine of Combat totems. See? Like one of these. One of these is one of the ones. See? Shrine of Combat. And then it looks like this. See? Shrine of the Mountain. It makes Challenge of the Mountain. If I ever find either of those, I must, without any fail, go and activate them. So part of that full 5 minutes per round on those stages is hunting for those totems to make sure they're not there, or if they are, to activate them and, suffer. But that's the basic rundown of the challenge I created for myself. And I did create a couple other modes. I created another one called Hard Mode, another one called Insane Mode, and then there's another one called, well, I lovingly call it Expletive Mode. Basically, they all just get harder and harder and harder, add into the extra difficulties, lower the time frame that you have to do, and you have to keep yourself honest to some of the challenges, like not purchasing drones or turrets or something on the expletive mode, for example. So I'm going to skip to another video where I will show you kind of how it runs through, because I usually have been running through this on my own, And I still have not beaten the game on the most basic challenge with this. I managed to get to stage 4, sometimes 6, but I usually end up dying in one big blast from some elite monster. It's a bunch of bull. So I keep trying at it, and I suggest maybe if you guys are looking for a little extra challenge for yourself, go ahead, pick up Risk of Rain 2, grab yourself the Goku mod. There's a number of ways to get it. I use the Thunderstorm mod manager myself in order for Risk of Rain to get its mods. Very easy to use and add mods to it. It does most of all the hard work for you. You don't have to worry about learning programming or computers or any of that jazz. You just find what mod you want, turn it on, boom, you're done. And then give it a shot. And the challenge I created is challenging enough for me, but there are so many ways that you could make it worse or easier. Like, there's another artifact here where you also get to choose the items that drop. So not only the monsters drop items, you also get to choose the items, where normally you have to go find the chest, pop it open, get the item, and it's a random thing you get. So, there's ways to make it easier, ways to make it harder. I built it this way to make it harder for myself. But hey, if you come up with another way to do it, let me know what you decided. Put down in the challenge. Now, make sure the most important part of any Kaioken challenge is that the goal is to use only Goku's Kaioken transformations. That is the main focus. If you are allowing yourself to use all of the other Super Saiyan ability transformations, it doesn't seem like a challenge if you ask me. But that's my personal opinion. Anyway, I will see you guys later. And remember, check in with your liver.